There, you guys. Happy Monday. Derek, I saw Rodney Austin this weekend or this on Friday, and he was like, "Hey, guess who's my new realtor?" And I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah, I'm glad to be. He's got a couple of good flips. He just closed on them. He's closed on one and closing on one. Well, I guess he's closed on both of them now. But his agent, I guess that he was using for years, has quit or whatever.
Yeah,
So
Stacy Bishop, I know her.
yeah,
Yeah.
is she the teacher at Hill? Is she also the Stacy Bishop that's the teacher at Hill Elementary School?
I don't know if she's a teacher or not. She may be. I forget what else she does.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
really and truly, she did real estate kind of. She did never seem to be really full time.
right. Yeah, he said that she would you know, hit or miss with her. And so, no, I said, I'm full time. I'll be there for you. So I've been showing him stuff, and he's
Awesome.
got two closing with her, but he said when he gets done with those, he's going to let me be the listing agent on them. And I said, sure. Yeah, I'd love that.
Awesome.
So,
Very cool.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad to be helping him.
Well, I am going to give everybody a couple more minutes, just so that I can, hopefully some more people join. Here we go, a few more, because we're going to be going over I've got a PowerPoint put together. We'll go over all of the, contracts and stuff. And then if anybody has any questions, we'll go over those as well. Has anybody started using the new contracts? Because they are out there.
Have it. What's
Well, now, if you're using them on .loop, like if you're using listing agreements and anything like that, those are the only ones that are available. Like .loop's already gotten rid of the old ones.
I did it. Okay, I did a transaction desk over the weekend, and it looked this. Well, I'll just see in a minute, but I'll see what's different. But I didn't notice anything different.
Yeah,
But I was on the transaction desk.
yeah. Well, in
Did the,
transaction, because MLS probably won't institute that until, you know, uh, until
did
it's actually required, but .loop is on the forefront, it uploads it immediately.
did the part of the contract on the page on the 1 through 4 contract on the last page where we put the 3 point, the commission we're asking for, did that go away?
Yes, I believe so. Like I said, we'll go over it here in a second,
Okay.
but there's a whole section now that, actually, I don't have it. We're not going over the 1 to 4. We're going over listing agreements and buyer reps,
Okay.
agreements and stuff. There's several changes. I mean, there's like 14 different documents that had changes. And those changes will be, are in the list of documents. Like if you go to Trek, the Trek website, you can see the list of documents that have made changes. We're just going over the ones that had the most significant changes today.
Okay.
And then as we go, if y'all have any questions, obviously, by all means, reach out. But most of the rest of them should be pretty self-explanatory, or it's super minor changes. So there's that. And I'm going to give everybody we'll start everything about 3:05, just to give some people some time, because I keep getting people jumping on. So um just got a text from a couple of people. So Got about 3 more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. And then anything that, if you feel like you're missing anything with this presentation, or you want to hear it again, we're going to be sending out an email after this presentation is done with a recording of this, but also with buyer representation presentations that we have currently on the website. We've sent them out before because I know a lot of people are super uncomfortable with having those conversations with the buyers. So we kind of mapped it out for you guys in a simple presentation that you can kind of walk your buyers through in order for them to see exactly what you do for them. Because I know if you haven't been using the buyer's representation agreement, then sometimes that can be an uncomfortable conversation. Just know that everybody's having to do that now. Come August 17th, it is absolutely mandatory, and it will have to be submitted with all of your documents through .loop. Whenever you go to review them or when you're sending them to us for review, we'll have to see those documents if you're representing the buyer. But we do have some formal documents that we put together for you guys, and it's a nice presentation that it's easy to walk your buyer through what you do for them, everything that you bring to the table, and why you have to do this, you know? So we'll be sending those out along with the recording of this meeting as well. We'll give everybody about 1 more minute and then get started. Okay, I am going to, oh, there's another. All right, for everybody that just now jumped on, we haven't started the meeting yet. We are just getting started. I wanted to make sure that I gave everybody enough time to jump on here. So I'm given a few minutes just so that you guys can jump on here. And if you have to, you know, mute me for a second or anything like that, I will be sending this recording out to y'all via email along with some supplementary documents that have to do with buyer representation and walking your buyer through your buyer representation and why it's important and why they need to do it. So this meeting is mainly to go over not all of the changes. There's been changes to about 14 different documents and some additional documents added. But we are going to go over quite a few of them or several of them today. And then there's a link in this presentation to where you can go to Trek. You can see which ones have been changed. Some of them you'll see as we're going through here, like some of it's just because they added a paragraph, then there's a bunch of changes in the way that they label the paragraphs. If they added another paragraph at the top, then your paragraph B has been changed to C, and so on and so on and so on. So just to let y'all know that that's kind of the way these documents have been changed. And if you go to the TAR website, you will be able to see what they've scratched out and what is new. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen with y'all and get this party started. Let's see here. Okay, so here we are with the revisions of the Texas Realtor documents. All of the new documents have been uploaded to .loop. So if you're doing all of your contracts in .loop, which you should, because you already have to submit all documents for review in .loop. It just makes it more of a one-stop shop for you and you don't have to upload documents. So if you're not utilizing your .loop account, you should go in there and do that. It just makes life easier for you. Because in order for us to look at them, you're going to have to submit them that way anyway. So that being said, let's go ahead and So they've updated 16 forms and created 3 new ones. So that's why I am advising you, we are only going over 3 forms today. But I am advising you to go ahead and go to their website, check out the new documents. Yeah, can you not? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was. Hang on, apparently I'm not sharing screen. I thought I'd just hit share. Entire screen.
Sure. And then now you can go to.
And now I can go to it. All right. One more time. One of these days I'll get this down, you guys. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to admit somebody. All right. So we have 16 forms that have been changed and 3 new forms. And they became available as of June 24th. And like I said, Loop has all the new forms available for you guys. So we're going to start with a listing agreement. The listing agreement, let me check my phone real quick. I think another agent is texting. Okay. All right, so nothing has changed. Well, the only thing that has changed on the first document, you want to make sure you are looking at something that says 2024. It did say 2022. If it says 2022, you are using the wrong document. You want to be using 2024 document. So then nothing has been changed other than that on the first page. On the second page, under broker compensation, this is where you're going to see the most changes. So what's marked out in red is what it used to say, and now we have what it does say. So basically you have 2 different categories here where you're saying in paragraph 5A, you are stating what you are earning as a whole, the brokerage as a whole, what is going to be paid out. So this is the same as it was before, where you're saying the brokerage as a whole is collecting 6% or whatever, however many coconuts you're collecting. So you're collecting that much, and then you're going to tell them later on exactly what's going to who. So you will be picking either 5A, where it is the 5A where you're stating a percentage or a fee, a flat fee or a percentage, or your 5AB where it might be something slightly different, right? So it might be this percentage plus, you've agreed to pay for some sort of marketing cost, or you want a big banner because it happens to be on a highway or something like that. If you want to fill anything in, then that's obviously where you would do it. Or you're going, and then in 5.2, then you're going to go ahead and that's where you're going to say, if the broker represents the buyer, how much are you going to get paid? If the broker is a sub-agent, this is for the buyers, if they're going to be offering anything for the buyers. So that is going to have to be stated and a discussion made. Oh, whoops, sorry. Dang it. And a discussion made with your sellers. So you definitely want to have that discussion with the sellers about, I mean, you have to at this point, you have to have that discussion with the sellers. The broker fee without compensation to the other broker, then you have to state that there. So you're really choosing A or B. And if you're choosing A, then you have to be very descriptive, same as we were before, descriptive about what is going to that buyer's agent. And then right down here at the bottom, it says, note, sellers paying buyers expenses. You want to inform your seller that this does not include any seller concessions that may come up in negotiations. So make sure you are explaining that to your seller. It does not include any of those things that coming up in option or during negotiation, they may be asked to offer something else towards the buyer. We all know what that is, all different kinds of seller concessions out there, depending on the inspection reports or something that's predetermined like a carpet allowance. So those are all things that have to be discussed and presented whenever you're presenting this document to your sellers at this point. On the following page, that's just finishing up that last little paragraph about this does not include any sort of seller contribution to the buyer, that they may be asked for additional. And then here is where I'm talking about, because they added in those paragraphs, now each paragraph has been changed from B to C. And then every time it says earned, they have capitalized the E. So that is in every paragraph. It has been capitalized. And then also payable has been capitalized. So that's also where the changes have been made. Additionally, down here at the bottom or in the middle of the page where it says 5A or 5B, they've scratched out because we no longer have the 5D. It's no longer relevant. So they are referencing 5E and 5E. And then your protection period, again, the only thing that's been changed is the labeling of the paragraph from E to F. On the following page, we have a lot of those little incremental changes that, you know, you don't have to know. They're just they're just letting you know that these things have been changed in case you have this thing memorized backwards and forwards. Now the paragraphs are named differently because of the added paragraph 2 pages ago. So those have been changed. And then again, where it says payable, it's a capital P. At the bottom of every single page, it will say 6/24/24. That's what's been changed as well. So anything that has 2022 or 22 on it is the wrong document. The following page does not have anything that's been changed except for the label down at the bottom, where it says the 6/24/24. The following page does have quite a bit marked out because this is where we described, you know, how we were going to make, where all the money was going to go, as far as commissions go. So all of paragraph 8 has been scratched out because now that is on page 2 at this point instead of on page 6. Down here at the bottom of page 7, paragraph D4, you'll see that they added that offers compensation to buyer representative. And so they're just putting that in there that the broker may do that, but only with the permission of the seller. On page 8, we have where it's been changed to E, and then they've added this paragraph F. The paragraph F is just stating that the seller does or does not authorize the broker to share with other brokers and prospective buyers that the seller will consider contributing amounts towards the buyer's expenses, such as buyer's broker's fees or other expenses payable by broker. So the seller is not obligated to pay any of these things, and it can be determined on a case by case, but they're allowing you right here, allowing the seller to say that they do or do not want you to share that up front. So then it could be shared on a case by case basis. On this page, still nothing, nothing's been changed except for right down here in paragraph 16. They're letting you know that the paragraph 5 is now 5A. On page 10, we have under 19O, that's where the seller authorizes to release. Instead of release, it says disclose and advertise certain information. They have scratched out entirely that paragraph 21A. So then that changes all of the paragraph number alphabets here. And those are basically the only changes on this page. And then the last page, they added because the signatures are not attached to the rest of the contract. It's a page unto itself. So they've added a space there where you can write in the address so that you know this is attached to the rest of the contract. And then the broker associate license number is to be on that last page. So those are all the changes to the listing agreement. And then there are now, we'll go over the buyer's rep agreements. So there's two different buyer's rep agreements. We're going to go over the short form and the long form. So we have this short form buyer's rep agreement. So this is kind of getting to the point. It doesn't spell out a lot of details. It doesn't go into depth. I think you need to play this like case by case and decide which one you're going to use. Obviously, if I'm working with an investor, then I'm probably going to use a short form, kind of like I do whenever I'm doing the seller's disclosures. If I'm working with an investor because they haven't lived in the home, they just know what they've done to the home, we use the short form seller's disclosure. And then with sellers who have lived in the home, I always do the long form because that's typically what buyers want to see. So on the short form, you can go through here. It just states who the clients are, who you are. It defines the terms of the agreement. If you have never used a buyer's representation agreement, you definitely want to go through this and familiarize yourself with each and every paragraph, because you're going to have to walk your buyers through this. Most buyers have never, ever, ever had to sign this. Most agents have not used it, even though we've been trying to encourage Texas realtors to use it for years now. But most agents have never used it. Most buyers have never signed it. So you can make it very, very specific. You can do the terms here. I mean, it can be a day long. If they want full service, on 5A, you check that full service. That's when you would go into that buyer's rep presentation, and you would walk them through everything that you're going to do for them in order to acquire a property and hopefully make sure that their buyer's commission for the agent is paid for by the sellers. On the showing services only. So showing services is paragraph 5, but it's the second box that you can check. That can be just a dollar amount, and you can charge them a dollar amount, but that is due on completion of this agreement. That is not at the end of the showing. That is nothing like that. It's up to you as to what you want to charge. There is not something, there is no flat fee that we are insisting. That is between you and your buyer. Now, if procured, then 7A talks about the broker compensation. And then that's where you talk about the purchases. If it's a purchase or if it's a lease, is it a percentage of the price of the home, or is it a flat fee? And then it goes through the earned and payable, source of payment, all of that. You want to definitely explain to them what intermediary means. and whether or not they authorize you to do that or not. And then the client will sign at the bottom and the broker sign, the broker's information and agent will sign at the bottom as well. That one's short and sweet and to the point. So the long form is long. So this is almost like going through a listing presentation. And to me, just from all of the meetings and everything I've sat through with other brokers, I would highly encourage you to do this one, because really the more you treat your buyers like a listing appointment, the more value that you can present to them. So I would walk them through the long form if you can. This is basically, you'll see a lot of similarities between this and a listing agreement. It's going to define your market area. This can be by city, this can be subdivision. You can get as micro or macro as you want to get, depending on what you know about that client. Your terms begin on, because you have to present this prior to showing them anything. So you would begin on such and such day prior to showing them any properties. And then when it ends, are you doing it by month? Are you doing it for a week? Is this a trial period? How are you going to set this up? What is your presentation going to look like? And then on the second page, this is all new because it was never so extensive. And like I said, you definitely want to, with this one, it definitely is more like a listing presentation. So you're going to end up explaining to them very specifically what broker compensation looks like. And that's why I encourage you to look over the presentation that we send you with our email follow-up, so that you can see what that presentation looks like, elaborate on it if you'd like, but you definitely want to have a presentation ready, because they're going to want to know what you're doing to earn that fee if it has to come out of their pocket. So the broker compensation is broken down into whether or not they want to do a purchase or a lease. Are you doing percentage? Are you doing flat fee? The source of the compensation. When is it earned and payable? The acquisition of the broker's listing, the intermediary, if you're an intermediary, you're going to have to explain that. Additional compensation. This additional compensation is because of if you're working with a certain contractor that is doing any construction to the property and you're getting a bonus or you're getting a fee to oversee that. This kind of speaks to a lot of investor realtors out there with the construction side of things. You can build in a fee for that. If you're trying to say, if you don't need me to do anything to the property, then this is the fee in the broker section, the broker's fee section. If we're adding or doing anything to the property for construction, then that would be in paragraph E. It's also alerting them that there are certain service providers that give you a referral fee, whether it's a homeowner's warranty or some sort of utility provider or whatever. That's just alerting them of that. In addition to those types of fees, any other bonuses, if you have a bonus that is going to be given to you by a builder because they're trying to unload inventory or something like that, and it's $5,000 seller's bonus, buyer agent bonus, you have to disclose that to your buyer, and your buyer has to approve it. So if they don't approve it, then you don't get it, or it has to go to their compensation. You just have to refuse it, or you negotiate how you receive that. Maybe it cuts down on what they have to buy, they have to pay for buyer commission, or maybe you take part of it and you contribute part of it to their closing costs. There's a lot of different ways that you can negotiate that out. It is something that you want to consider with each and every buyer that you have out there. We also have, just like you have in the listing agreement, you have a protection period. And that is paragraph F right down here. And that protection period, you can, hang on just a second, I gotta move y'all around. You can put that it goes on for a certain amount of days. You do have to submit what properties you are getting a protection period on. It is not just a blanket protection period on closing on any property out there, but it does need to be submitted within 10 days after the agreement ends, that if they decide, if they or any of their family members end up closing, putting a contract on and closing on any of those properties that you showed them specifically, then you are due a fee. You are due a commission. And then there's the escrow authorization that the client authorizes that the broker can instruct the escrow or closing agent to authorize and close a transaction for acquisition by this agreement, and collected and dispersed to the broker all amounts payable to the broker. Then you also have to designate what county or counties. So if you're showing them in multiple counties, you know, you're in Ellis and Tarrant, or you're in Dallas and Tarrant, then you definitely want to make sure you put all those counties in there. In addition to that, then we're just talking about right here, you'll see that they just changed the label for these paragraphs because they added a paragraph in. And then down here in the notice, they also added or scratched out 9, but added 9A instead of 8 because they changed the name of it. On the following page, you'll also notice at the top of every, oh shoot, I'm on the right page, 4 or 5, yeah. At the top of every page here, it says between, they added that. It was, I think it was just an ad completely. I think before it was just buyer representation agreement. And I think it said client. They've changed some of the paragraph numbers here and then marked out all of paragraph 13 because it's been moved to paragraph 7. Here again, this is paragraph 13, and they have marked all of this out because of paragraph 7. So a lot of this has been switched around, and that's why you see a lot of the red marks. If you go to the TAR website and you look these up, you can still see, obviously it'll be in this presentation, but if you want your own document to study, download, print, whatever, then you can go to that website and print it out, just so that you can study it in a little bit more detail. On this page here, page 6, you'll notice that all of the paragraphs have been changed because that one paragraph was completely marked out. And then they marked out down here in paragraph 18, they completely marked out that subparagraph A because the broker's fees have already been talked about in that previous paragraph. And here on the last page, they've made a couple of different changes besides just, you know, renaming some of the paragraphs. They just changed some of the verbiage. Instead of putting numbers, it just says bank account or other financial information. Instead of electronic communicating, it says request to wire funds. They just changed a little bit of the verbiage in paragraph F and then added the license number for the broker associate at the end.
Can I ask a quick question before you move on?
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
it's Christy. On the short form, I noticed it has that delineation between showings and I can't remember the naming, but I didn't see that on the long form. Did I miss that? You know how it had a difference between like a flat fee for showings or whatever you want to charge?
The flat fee
Is
for
that,
showings, let me go back
yeah,
and just
I
see
didn't
real
see that on the
quick.
long. I may have missed it. I like that for buyers that just want to have you riding around town.
Yes. So on the long form, let's go back just a little bit. So here's the page with the long form. And it does not specifically state for showings.
Interesting.
It says purchase and leases.
Okay.
So if you have somebody that's unsure or who has commitment issues or something like that, then
Yeah,
you
the
would
short-
want to use that short form, the short form for them. Because then
Got
you're
it.
charging them like in order to show you a few
Yep.
homes, if you're not willing to commit to a longer period and you just
Right.
want me to show you a few homes, then I'm gonna have to charge you this much, this is my fee for showing you this many homes on a Saturday
Right.
afternoon.
Yep. I just had to turn somebody away because of that very issue. Like literally, he just wanted me driving around town, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I mean, those days are kind of come and gone.
Yeah.
And if you are holding an open house, that's another thing. If you're holding an open house, then this short form is what you're going to want to do.
Okay.
Because then it's just, you can put in there that open house, or they may even, let me just get back to y'all about the open house, because I think they actually have a singular form for that. That is strictly for, you can do that and you can either collect a fee or you can collect their information that, yes, I am showing you this house. And if you put a offer on this house, I represent you, something like that. But I'll find out about that for sure.
Oh.
Now, as far as when you absolutely have to implement all of these things, it is August 17th. So on August 17th, you have to be, I would suggest you start using them now because they've been available since the 24th. But on August 17th, you won't have a choice. I would start having those conversations now with your buyers if you haven't already. These are the updated forms list. This is a list of every single one of them. And like I said, we will send you this presentation in an email so you can go through all of it, or you can visit the website itself and look at any of these in case they apply to you. These are all the ones where they've changed the verbiage some based on the new rulings.
Sorry, me again. Quick question. Are you going to override what's in dot loop with the new set?
Loop
And
has
get rid
already
of the,
uploaded the new set.
okay, so the old stuff will drop off?
Yeah, the old stuff is already gone.
It's already gone. Okay.
And so you won't, obviously, whenever you look at it on .loop, it does not have the red line mark
Right.
throughs or anything like that. It just looks like a regular document. So the
Yeah.
way you can tell if you're using any other platform to fill your documents or anything like that, then you can look at the top and it'll say 2024 on the front underneath the title of every document. It should say 2024. So the new forms list is all of the ones we just went over. And then at the end of this, you see the link so that you can see all of the drafts of the new ones and everything that's been changed. So that is basically all of it. Do y'all have any questions? Or
I
do y'all
do.
want to discuss anything?
Has there been any discussion with other brokers that you've talked to about the How are we going to find out if they are offering a commission to the buyer's agent? Are we going to just actually really text the listing agent?
You're gonna really just text and call the listing agents for now.
Will Broker Bay be able? Do you know if they're going to get involved in
I don't
disclose?
know, because Broker Bay is connected to the MLS, and the MLS is not allowed to be a part of that in any way, shape, or form. So I would think Broker Bay would not be able to, just because of their affiliation and because it's provided to us through our brokers at no cost, or through our boards at no cost. So I doubt that Broker Bay is going to be able to get involved at all. Now, some other third parties like Showing Time or something like that, they don't have the same stipulations because you pay for them as a third party. So that might be an option. But as far as Broker Bay, I have not heard that they have that loophole.
Have and then also the what if we on the short form, if we meet a buyer and we just put 0, they don't owe us anything, and then we just only show them houses that have where the seller's paying it, then can we tell them no, they're not paying a commission? I can't show you that house.
You should be able to, like, you're talking about on the short form, you're just saying that as far as the broker's fees, you're going to do full service, and that you're going to do 0% and $0 amounts. I think you're going to have an amendment to that, because that just says you're willing to work for nothing.
Yeah, and if there's not, so then if I find out that there's no that they're not offering a buyer's brokerage commission, then I'm just not going to show the house. I'll just delete it off the list.
I think that's going to be fine. I'll go ahead. I'm going to make a couple of notes just to make sure that I present that to the TAR legal and get that clarity for you guys. 0%.
On that same grain, I was thinking about the same thought process. Are they removing, so they're removing that BAC field in MLS, or is that going to be removed or just optional for agents to fill in? Like if
Removed. They can't put
completely
it on there
removed.
legally at all.
Okay.
Jaylee, I
Yeah.
have something that I don't know if you can see it on here. They've already started where they're just marketing the property. Can you see that? Is it straight?
Yeah, I can
And they
see
put
that.
it right on the top and right in there, and it works. It's probably saving them a lot of phone calls and texts because it says it right on there. I
Now,
don't know. Yeah.
marketing like what is that on Broker Bay?
I guess something that somebody did themselves, put it on a magazine or
Oh, well,
maybe
yeah, you can market, you can do that.
realtor.com. Can we not do anything on there? Or
Yeah, you just can't do
Zillow?
anything through the MLS.
So that's how they're probably going to do it, is just Facebook, different, just put
Yeah, I mean,
put
you
your
can
listing
try
up
to
there
put
and
it, as long as your seller's okay with it, you can put it out there as much as possible, but not on the MLS whatsoever, or anything MLS related.
can we put on the listing in the private remarks or in the description itself, see Facebook or see Zillow for more information?
Maybe that. You just can't put any indication of what a fee would be.
Yeah, that's not doing that. And then if you go that to wherever I listed it again, and then you can see how much, if you don't want to text or wait for a text.
Haley, you're saying that in the description you can't say a number percentage in MLS, right? You
Exactly.
cannot.
Yes,
So basically you can search in MLS to find ones that are paying commission for buyers.
exactly.
Okay.
That's going to be a problem there because I mean, we all know this. A lot of agents suck and they don't even answer their phones and their voicemails are full.
Yep,
That's a problem.
agreed.
That's a big problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have created a lot more problems than they solved, but yay us. This is what we get to deal with and try to figure out.
I think people, I mean, I know you're saying they can't do this, but I think people will put it in the description, no, in the remarks. I mean, will
Nope,
that,
you'll get flagged and fined.
really?
In the MLS, absolutely.
Huh.
I
Man.
feel like they're just
Why
pushing.
can't we just like put the additional information on this listing on Zillow or wherever you're gonna market it? You're not mentioning money, you're putting extra stuff down. That's gonna draw a line.
Yep.
I'll wait for you to answer that. But I mean, just like I just showed you though, that, if you can find a magazine or somewhere on Facebook or
Even
whoever,
Zillow.
Instagram to
Mhm.
market it, then you can have additional on the top of that, because it's not the MLS on your Facebook, sellers paying 2.5 commission or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, Zillow is going to create a field for that because this is a fresh opportunity for them to expand their market because they'll just put a field because they're not MLS, and then everybody just goes to Zillow.
Which is
I
not
mean, or
exactly what we want.
right, it's kind of counterproductive completely. But mm,
But for now, like I said, I stay in communications and I'm in a couple of mastermind groups with some other brokers, and we've been talking about other options and stuff. I think right here in the beginning, there's going to be a lot of people trying a lot of different things, and then eventually, it'll get zeroed down to, all right, this is the way that most people are doing it. And seems to be the most effective. And as soon as I start to hear more about those options, then we'll send all that information out. Any other questions or ideas? Or I would say, I know a lot of people have done, I didn't think QR codes would catch on whatsoever. And I think if it wasn't for frickin' 2020, it wouldn't have, because everybody went like, you can't touch anything. So now even people in their 70s know how to use a frickin' QR code. But I do think maybe starting to do that on your signs that then goes to a landing page of, this property has this, and that, and maybe it's not always, I know a lot of investors already do that, and it's property specific, but maybe it's just a landing page with a list of properties that you currently are listing and what they're willing to offer for a buyer's commission.
Julie, can we put on a voicemail, the property at Rumfield's paying 2% commission?
Yeah,
So we don't have to get text. It'll be right on there. I have 5 listings. This is what they're paying, and go down the line on a voicemail.
yeah, you
That
could
can
do that.
work. That can work.
Yeah, that's coming from you individually and property specific.
Do you think a lot of these will be zero, Julie? I mean, do you think a lot of
I
sellers
have
will be
gotten
at
a
zero?
lot of questions from this is something that you also want to have a conversation with your listings, is all the listings that I've been taking on, because, there for a while, it was the buzz of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to sell my house and make more money because I don't have to pay that now. Every listing presentation I've been on since then, I've advised them, you need to still pay that. It's already a huge barrier of entry for buyers to get into a house because of the interest rate and qualifying and all the money they have to bring to the table to begin with, that if you don't offer that, they are not obligated to show your home. So now you have just taken yourself off the table you've just narrowed your buyers pool by a lot. So I've encouraged every single one of my listings to just ignore that and still offer something, if just something. And most of them are all still offering, 2.5%, 3%, just depending on what they're trying to do. And they understand that logic.
Also, can we ask the buyers to ask their lenders if the lender's paying some kind of concession to the buyer's agents?
Well, I mean, I would say you should do that no matter what, whenever you're dealing with a buyer, because lenders are allowed to give, to help the buyers out. I've had a ton of buyers be helped out by their lenders as far as closing costs and things like that. So I'd be doing that anyway, and that would probably be a direct conversation with the lender rather than, I mean, yes, mention it to your client, but also that direct conversation with the lender of, are you offering them anything for closing cost or anything like that? But that doesn't help you because they cannot pay realtor commissions as it is right now. The way I anticipate this will, not that everybody conforms. We all figure it out, right? And technically, lenders are already paying for realtor commissions. Whenever you're breaking it down, it's already in the loan. However, that's not the way it's verbalized. That's not the way it's written on paper. So I think what will end up happening in the future is that there's going to be a lender product that ends up coming out that becomes popular that includes the buyer commissions for their realtors. But right now, every lender is going to tell you, we don't pay realtor commissions. Any other questions from anyone? Because I'm going to follow up with TAR just about that, making sure, because what I did notice is they didn't seem to I didn't see any changes to anything that talks about our responsibility, our ethical responsibility, our fiduciary responsibility to not steer from property to property. But if somebody's offering nothing and your buyer can afford nothing, then you are not required to work for nothing. So then what do you do? So I didn't see where they address that at all. And probably because they don't want to, because it is a very sticky situation to be in, and to try to articulate on paper without it being some sort of steering. So I'll definitely ask about that and the open houses, and then on the short form, just being able to state, look, I'm not charging you anything, but I'm only showing you properties that are paying a commission.
And like I said, I would definitely put my 5 listings or 10 listings on, like you said, a voicemail, and go ahead and put the commission. That'll save time. And get a flyer and put, like I showed you on there, 2.5 on this beautiful house, blah, blah, and start
Yep.
throwing it up on your sites.
Yeah, if you do social media at all, I would say every time you put a listing up, you definitely throw that on top of it, and make sure that everybody knows that y'all are paying a buyer's agent commission anywhere you can besides the MLS. All right. Well, if y'all don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump off here. And like I said, I'll follow up with a email. So y'all got this, and then y'all have also got the buyer presentations, representation presentations that y'all can go over, add to, do whatever you want to, but use them because we made them for you guys, and so that y'all can have those discussions. And if y'all want to do some sort of role play calls, over those buyer representation conversations, let's do it so we can work out the kinks, and so that y'all can have those conversations without stumbling or without feeling insecure about what you're having to say to them, because this is new, completely new for a lot of you.
Yeah, one quick question before you drop. Sorry, something just
no
crossed my
problem.
mind. For those cases where you have like showing only, or those a la carte kind of pricing, can you share what, if any, changes on your piece of the commission, like the broker versus agent split? So
If
like
y'all
if
are
I'm charging
doing
500.
the leases stay, obviously if you procure it, that's fine. If y'all are doing a buy showing, I do not need anything from that. That's already a big pain in the butt. And hopefully will end up being a closing of some sort. So I feel like that's just part of y'all doing business. I am not changing any sort of fees to you guys if you are charging per showing.
Okay, for both purchase and leases, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Jay Lee, what about
Yeah.
this scenario? If you get a signed call and it's someone that says they're in town looking at the house for their son that's moving here next month,
Mhm.
and they want to look at that house, does the mother or dad have to sign if I go meet them at a listing, even though then it's because it's similar to an open house. So,
I'll check to make sure, but the way it's verbalized to me and the meetings that I've sat in on is if you're showing somebody who does not have a listing agreement with you, they have to sign.
okay.
So then it would be the short form, have them sign that and say, look, I'm required by law. And this is not just Texas, this is nationwide. So it should not be news to them. And if it is, well, then you're just the first one to break it to them.
Will the information on broker services go away because of this?
I don't think it won't go away as far as the listing agreement goes, but possibly on the buyer side, since you're already letting them know.
Okay.
But good questions.
Who wants to get together and build an app to replace MLS? A data-friendly app, because this is they're going to make themselves obsolete, because at some point, like if you can't pull data to show you what you need, what's the point? You
Yeah.
know, that's just feedback in case, because you have a seat at the table.
Yep.
And
It's just a matter of time. Mhm.
Zillow is probably licking their chops right now, with
Yeah,
a lot of this stuff
I
going on,
would
right?
be
I mean, they want
Yeah.
to take over the real estate, world anyway and be the emperor there. And man,
I know,
you
but
know,
then Zillow's gonna make everybody, y'all are gonna be flat fee based. I mean, if we, like the fighting of Zillow to take over, I get it that they have a lot of attributes, but they really want to own all of the data, and then everybody else, all realtors get paid like a flat fee.
Today on this call, someone brought it up that I hadn't even thought of. I think it was Christine, maybe, but Zillow will add that spot on there. I had not
They
even
will.
thought of. This is feeding the monster.
Exactly.
Yep.
Zillow's going to love that. They've got to be already prepared for that. So
Yeah.
we're going to be able to bypass the MLS. There's a guy in California named Mauricio that has that TV show called one of those Los Angeles real estate shows, and he's coming up with the alternative to the MLS.
Yeah.
Where we're
It's
paying
mhm.
$500. It's going to be a national MLS, a national listing sharing website, and we'll just pay a flat fee, put all of our listings on there, and it won't have to follow all these the new rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zillow, we just feeding that monster even more.
Exactly.
I had a listing that was not getting any activity, and I called MLS. I called Fort Worth Greater Association of Realtors, and she says we could not take our listings off of Zillow. And I think I've asked you, Jay Lee, before, but you can. There is a toggle switch on the MLS that says you can toggle it off of there, and it'll disappear. It'll still be active on the MLS, but it'll be not on Zillow and not on the other sites. And so I did it for a week, and I got 6 sign calls, old-fashioned sign calls, because they had to call my number instead of search their little Zillow app real quick. And so the house sold, but not really from that. But it was an experiment I did to see, really how strong Zillow is, and so many people use it, and so many people are letting them charge their card 10 and 12,000 or more per month to be their premier agents. But we could also all in Zillow just by the click of a toggle switch. But said that in some forums before, and people like freak out when I say that. They're like, why the hell would you want to get rid of Zillow? Why Zillow's are all our best friends, but really they're not. They could be, you know,
They
taken
could-
over.
I mean, the goal is for them to undermine all of it. However, you know, these national websites that you can search from all over the country. I mean, because we are so digitally bound and everybody wants information at their fingertips. And if I'm here and I'm looking to buy something in Florida, I want to be able to look for it. And Zillow owns that space right now. I mean, not that there isn't realtor.com and others, but they've just
Yeah.
been able, and if you hit that toggle, you're off of all of them. So it can limit you quite a bit as well. That's where I
Right.
would see the problem, is that it limits.
Yeah, it's a tech problem and it's a data problem, and somebody will come in and solve it, and MLS will become, irrelevant. It's just a matter of time. It's exciting though. From a tech mind, I'm very excited to see what happens. I think MLS is, failed to keep up with the times, and technology and data has to be at our fingertips. And if you can't provide that, then you're obsolete. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if no one has any other questions, then I'll go ahead and jump off here. Hope y'all have a great rest of your week. And I'll answer those questions and get those to y'all probably by later on today or tomorrow morning.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.